Welcome all of you here at Ars Electronica at a program about code. My name is Arjon Dunnewind. I'm the director of IMPAKT Media Center in Utrecht and the Netherlands. We're one of the organizers of Code, together with Werktank in Leuven, Belgium, the School of Machines in Berlin, and with the Privacy Salon in Brussels. And this is the second edition, at least the works that you will see today are the results of the second edition of Code. We organized the first edition in 2021, and we're very happy here to be with the results of the 2022 session. Code, in brief, is a project that brings together anyone, basically, that is concerned with the power of big tech. But most of all artists and non-artists, designers, researchers, lawyers. It doesn't matter what background you have, but we invited all these people to join in an online-offline collaboration trajectory. And the results you will see tonight. The artists are here today and they will present the results. And with the projects that have been realized, we hope to engage politicians. We hope to open a dialogue with politicians, because we really feel that our lack of digital agency, the lack of power that we have over the devices and the platforms that we use on a daily basis should be improved. It can be done in many ways, and one of them is legislation, better legislation, for instance on a European level. So tonight you will see also some videos that we had with interviews of politicians, and we hope that the projects that we present today will provoke more interviews and more dialogue with politicians. So the event this afternoon is also a bit special because it's also part of the hybrid experiments and the hybrid projects that IMPAKT is doing. So we'll be trying today to bring together people that are here, but also members of the various groups that are not here and that will be with us remote. Remote to ask questions to other participants, and this is something that we also would like to invite you to do. So if you have a question of one of the projects here, the artists are here, they will present everything, and please raise your hand, we'd be happy to take your responses or your questions. But now, one last thing I would like to point out before we invite the first or actually before you will see the first videos, I would like to point out that the projects that you will see presented by the artists today are also on display in the second floor of the Science Park number 4. So it's the big building at the total end of this campus. On the second floor you can see more about the projects that will be presented today. There's also some information on projects that have been realized last year, so I can only recommend to go there and to see the things on display. But now let's start with a video compilation that will show you in just 6 minutes 2 of the projects that have been presented last year by the working groups. They were part of the online edition of Ars Electronica last year, but for those who missed it, here you can see it again.
This infrastructure.
We, as consumers, are coerced into using their services.
Critics of Google suggest higher taxes, divestitures and stricter legislation, but our project aims simply to expose to all parties involved how the reality proposed by our plugin is unachievable in the world where tech giants dictate the rules.
In response to these problems, we have created Organise, an easy-to-install browser plugin that playfully reveals the hidden Google monopoly. As shown at the start of the video, the plugin will promise a chance to experience the internet without Google and its tracking. However, this internet will be very different from the one you are used to. Every time you attempt to navigate to a page with Google service on whether it is maps, location, fonts and so on, you will be met with this page, announcing that this website is unavailable. This means that over 70% of all websites you will visit will be blocked by our plugin.
We hope this will not only reveal to people how omnipresent Google is in their personal online sphere, but also annoy them into activism. To encourage further action, we will provide you with a ready-made email that you can send to your local politician explaining the problem and suggesting solutions.
We will run an extensive social media campaign to get as many people and policymakers as possible to experience the annoying reality of a Google-free internet. Hopefully, this experience and awareness generated will convince politicians in the EU and beyond to realize that the longer they take to enact anti-monopoly laws, the more these tech giants will extend their hold of online spaces.
We demand a future without these dehumanizing border technologies, where the companies making them are properly regulated and refugees' lives aren't used to test them on. So we decided to try to do something about it. We are a group of artists, designers, academics, developers and concerned citizens based in both Germany and the Netherlands. We wanted people to realize that these new technologies are a closer reality to their lives than they may think, by targeting them while they were travelling freely around Europe. Starting in Berlin Central Station, we created a Wi-Fi network by using a Raspberry Pi and offered it to people passing by. But this isn't an ordinary Wi-Fi network. Under the pretense of offering greater safety or speed, people are asked to grant increasingly invasive permissions before they can get online. The Wi-Fi network comes from our seemingly trustworthy company, Argus, named after the many-eyed god from Greek mythology. Before accessing Argus's fast and free Wi-Fi, the user is asked to switch on their camera so we can scan their face, turn on their microphone so we can record their voice, and let us access their contacts to analyze their trustworthiness. Once it's over, we ask, "You want to get out? We would too." By giving people a sense of the intrusive nature of these technologies, we hope they are encouraged to take action against them. We found a simple call to action through Reclaim Your Face, an initiative aiming to collect 1 million signatures so the EU will create a new law explicitly prohibiting biometric mass surveillance. Although started in Berlin, we want this project to be replicated across Europe. As it is open source and cheap to reproduce, we plan to create a kit for others to bring Argus's Wi-Fi into their cities, so that more people learn about and take action against these invasive and dehumanizing border technologies.
The most important thing about new technologies and old technologies for the same is that code, software code, entails freedom, stability, and prosperity. It is both the way that we make and earn our money, but it's also the way how we live together as a society, how we route packages of data. Do we think it's best to rotate from A to B without any aspect looking at the content of the data, or do we want content to play a role? Do we want a free and open internet or not?
A question about the distribution of power. And I think big tech companies are too powerful, and they are not held accountable when they don't respect civil liberties. And that, I think, is a serious democratic deficit. But at the same time, the hunger for data of governments must be tempered as well.
We're still at a point where for a lot of people, technology and automation is something complicated and scary. Yes, we need to change something, but let's not talk about the difficult things such as algorithms, because I might not understand it. And that makes it sometimes hard to mobilize people, because people are afraid to speak out because they will perhaps be considered, not knowing enough. So I think we also have an important role in educating people and explaining them that, the current way it works, you don't have to be an engineer, but to understand that the current way that technology works is not perhaps the way we want to go. And we should have more, low-key conversations about it.
We need to see what governments are doing. And if you look at the Artificial Intelligence Act of the EU, then it regulates the big tech, but it doesn't regulate us as a society, the governance. And when they can see you everywhere with the cameras and they can follow you everywhere with the cameras, then we really need to regulate what they can do for searching and profiling in our society.
In practice, you don't really face many people who would have been of professional background of IT people, engineers, and people who actually do design the systems. And that means that the other, let's say, professions, they have to really learn the technologies and understand them, which is not always the case. So that's why I think it's important to have really an opportunity to bring more, let's say, engineers into the politics, so that they are really able to analyze the technical challenges we are facing and also propose and advocate for solutions.
Often the negative impact of technology is not easy to understand, and it takes quite a lot of knowledge. And so the first thing that should be done is crowdsource and collect the knowledge that exists within the community. Sometimes only minorities are affected, so it's very valuable to give them the opportunity to speak up. We are promoting for the European Parliament to use more digital participation that will allow concerned citizens or NGOs to comment in the legislative process and be heard.
What needs to be done is that Parliament needs to step up their game. But also it needs to be part of a larger debate within society and not belong to just the same old tech nerds.
helped these groups of artists to produce new projects, and this is what you're going to see tonight. Today we'll present 3 of the new projects for you, and the first one that will be presented, for that I would like to call on stage Omar Adel.
Hello, I'm Omar Adel, an artist, culture practitioner, and multimedia designer. And I'm physically here today to present Logging into Identity, which is an intimate virtual space encompassing multiple textual scripts written by Nina and Anya, my 2 colleagues in our group that we were working together on the project, and they are joining us online today. This collaboration, in brief, is the culmination of several conversations we had about our shared interests and concerns regarding our presence in the virtual space, and the intrinsic relationship we have as individuals or users with some of the existing online services and spaces that also function as an extension to our social space. Nina and Anya's scripts playfully but intimately attempt to trace their relationships with some of these internet services, which range between email services and email providers and social media networks, and also microblogging platforms. The approach we took in this project allow, in my opinion, a closer proximity between our emotional presence in the virtual space and the larger context of policy making, digital agency, and data and privacy concerns. Using such a format, we attempt to bring attention to the often neglected emotional toll or entanglement of being present with or without our consent. And Nina and Anya now maybe will with us now to present, talk a bit more about the text, the writing process, and give us a glimpse of the inside of the project. If they are. Can they hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I don't know if you heard the first part of the presentation, but now actually we are inviting you to tell us a bit more about the writing process of the scripts, and maybe we show the audience an example, a brief example, quickly in within 1 minute or 2.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Omar, for a nice introduction. Basically, our project is a website with a collection of texts that you can explore, where each text is told from a first-person perspective by one of the platforms me or Nina were using in our lives. And through the scripts, we tried to investigate a big politically important question of how platforms and online software actually influences us as individuals. Question is usually addressed on a broad level, where people are perceived as users as a mass. We tried to go from a different angle and look at personal stories, do artistic autoethnography, and write down stories of how in our lives personally platforms influenced us, engaged in intimate relationships with us, etc. It's also a detective story, so if you open a website, you will need to do some simple investigation, and I hope you will have fun.
Thank you, Anya. Thank you, Anya, for the input, and thank you, Nina. And then to conclude, I could say that this project takes from user experience analysis a methodological approach to present to you whether you are a user or a developer or a politician or a policy maker, the emotional back end of an individual experience or relationship with zeros and ones. And finally, we invite you to visit the platform, which is www.loggingintoidentity.online, and explore the available scripts, have a tour there, and definitely keep an eye on the project because we think of it as an ongoing thing. So more scripts will be added soon, and we are looking into options also to take the project further and try to take it outside of the online space to the physical space. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Omar. As said, we all welcome you to ask questions for this group, but we also invited the members of the other groups to think of some questions for the projects that their colleagues have been producing. And I hope that Shruti, who was one of the other members, would share a question with us. We have this drawing board here that you can see online, and that could be used for questions, but the print is too small, Shruti, for me to read. So maybe you just share your question with us, the question that you have for the group that made the project Login to Identity.
But I was wondering what sorts of insights they got from the conversations you had about humanizing these platforms. Like it's completely different things about technology and platforms that is built for social interaction versus actual human emotions.
Shruti, could you repeat? Because Omar just went on stage and couldn't follow you.
Okay, yeah, sure. I was wondering what sort of insights they had from the conversations within the team when you take something like a text platform which is designed to increase social interaction, when you place it against like humans and emotions. What is the dynamic between the two?
Yeah, well, the question, I can barely read it, but what sort of insights did you have from these conversations around humanizing these tech platforms? That's the question.
Yeah, okay. Well, first the whole project started with thinking about like giving a persona or an identity to these services or platforms. But then slowly it progressed into also investigating our individual, and in this case, Nina and Anya's individual connection with some of these services that they are using at the moment. And it became more clearer to us that the impact of our presence in these spaces is actually the thing that we needed to focus more on. Like I don't know, when you get a chance to read the scripts and have a look at the website, you would find like it's not like directly telling you is this service or platform is good or bad for you, or like is it like a good experience that you have, but it shows more this kind of complex relationship that we have with these services. And actually the whole idea of like labeling it as a service, it seems to be outdated for me. It feels more like an extension to our social space, as I was saying. And we need to update our way of thinking of these apps and programs, because it's similar to us existing physically here and how we are navigating the space here. It is the same experience, more or less, and our emotions and feelings are influenced by it. So at this stage, yeah, the whole idea of personifying the services was it started from there, but then it moved slowly towards the person, the human aspect that is present in these spaces. But we try to keep the thing playful, so you don't get first-hand like what service we're talking about or what platform we're talking about. You get to go through the details of the story to know more or less if you can identify this platform or service, and then you know maybe you can recognize yourself also in this script, and you can recognize a personal experience that you have been through as well using this service. Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, I hope that makes things clear for you, Shruti. If there's no other questions from the audience, maybe there's another participant. If you prepared a question, you could do it now. Please welcome on stage Katja Sofia Ditzler. She's one of the artists of the projects that we'll see next to this one.
I think, Omar, you're not supposed to run away.
That's okay. That's okay.
So my question would be, how do you work with censorship or the issue of free speech in on platforms if you if part of your concept is already focusing on the emotional aspect of dealing with these platforms?
How do we deal with censorship?
Censorship, free speech, this kind of complex.
Yeah, well, it's I don't know how much time we have to answer this question, but in my personal view, the whole idea of censoring is not the main solution. It's in a way, it's some sort of an easier solution to put things under the carpet, basically. You know, let's hide whoever's saying something that is not good or bad from our perspective, to conceal it from us. And I don't know if Nina or Anya have something to add. Yeah, Anya.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll be fast. Echo? Yeah, thank you. One of the scripts is featuring Russian platform that is very well known for disinformation and related problems. And I won't tell you the name because it's a detective story. But basically, we embedded a bittersweet tone there that shows the problems of censorship and misinformation, but also nostalgia and intimate relationships that are still built with this platform when you start using it as a child, for example, and you don't really have much choice, and not only after you realize all the issues that are embedded there. So we address these problems within our scripts. And I'll give a word to Nina. Maybe she also wants to add something fast.
Yeah, of course. I think for a lot of the platforms we wrote scripts about, censorship is an issue. And for example, the quote I just posted on the Jamboard, these platforms evolve and respond to their user base. And for some of them, censorship has become the downfall, as for this platform. But for others, they still thrive on this complete openness. And I think it's really interesting to explore all these platforms and see our website more as a map, and not like really a roadmap or anything, but a map where you can see different options, where you can find your own way and find your own platform, really.
Nina, thanks a lot, and also Anya for your responses. We need to move on to the next project. Thanks for making this project for us, and hope to see you in real life soon. Thanks, Omar. And let's jump right into the next project, which is made by, among other, Katja Ditzler. Please introduce yourself and your colleagues and your project. A warm applause for Katja Ditzler.
How are you? How's everybody? So I'm setting a timer because we don't want to go over the time slot. As I've been already introduced, I'm Katja Sofia Ditze. I'm the Chief Relations Officer of the company DSMA Unlimited. My colleague Funda Zainab Aygül is present as well. We also have Avo Ezen, we have also Guillaume Slizovic, and we have Elena Falomo on our team. However, the latter three are not present today. But I'm going to tell you something about our company. So, DSMA Unlimited, as you can see, is a legislative company or a company dedicated to law. And I would like to ask you some questions. Do you want to change reality? Do you want to shape reality? Do you want more free speech? Do you want less free speech? Do you want more competition, less competition? Stop complaining, because we have an opportunity for you. We can let you shape reality. We have a proprietary business model and a platform, DSMA Unlimited, that lets you change paragraphs. So you can bid to buy articles of the Digital Services Act and the Digital Markets Act. Then you pay something for them, and then you can change them. As soon as a higher bid comes around, yeah, you lose access, just as in real life. So, as you might have guessed, we offer you a very simple way of lobbying, a very innovative way of lobbying. So, lobby work has never been easier than through our platform. And I will have to ask you, or I will go to the audience, and actually I hope there's not going to be any feedback. So I would like to ask you, if you could lobby the government, what would you change?
Better democracy.
Better democracy, that's already a very good way of putting it. So I would suggest you buy an article and bend it to your vision. What about you?
More rights for asylum seekers.
Great. We offer you that as well. How about you?
Abortion rights.
Great. I mean, we don't offer that yet because we're more focusing on the Digital Services Act and Digital Markets Act, which is more pertaining to the sphere of the internet, but maybe we can work on that in the future. So I would like to try to convince you even more about our company. So DSMA Unlimited is a very small but highly competent team of experts from different fields, and our expertise is guaranteed you to yield the results you want. So book a free consultation today or jump right into it, because we at DSMA Unlimited have you covered. So buy a piece of legislation and work on it. We let you influence. And I would like to ask Elena now to explain how it actually works.
Thank you, Katja, for your words and for your wonderful introduction of DSMA Unlimited. I would like to just give you a little bit of background about our process and how we came to the idea of DSMA Unlimited. In fact, we analyzed the Digital Services Act and the Digital Markets Act, the two upcoming European Union's legislative initiatives, aiming to reshape EU's digital landscape. And we streamlined the lobbying process for you through our digital interface. In the next slide, I'm going to show you how we calculate a unique price for each article of the two legislative corpuses. And today, you have the chance to have an insight into the formula behind our success. All our prices are generated by our proprietary algorithm that takes into account several components of each article, an assessment of each term's rarity in the European Union's entire legislative corpus, the global market price according to data from search and advertising engines, and the level of intelligibility of each sentence. Thanks to our software and expert analysis, we can tell you today which are the most coveted articles and guide you towards smarter investment thanks to our clear overview of price fluctuation amongst articles. But in the next slide, I'm also going to show you how our services are not only limited to price calculation. We can also provide you with engaging visualizations, such as the star network visualization, mapping out how each word in the Digital Services Act and Digital Markets Act, represented by a dot, is related to core concepts of these two acts, like digital service platform, represented by the larger dots at the corners. So finally, out of our characters, I would like to also tell you that thanks to our fictional company and fictional services, our aim is to actually raise awareness about the lobbying processes, which are often exploited by hyperscalers and big tech platforms to maintain their monopolies. And we hope to be able to subvert the status quo around the lobbying, especially when it comes to digital rights that are so much needed. So in the next slide, I would like to thank the rest of my team and to invite you all to our website, dsma-an.limited, to start to influence the future of digital Europe today. Thank you, everyone.
Because never forget, we let you influence. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, any questions? I have a first one, just, and then the other groups will maybe also have a question. I mean, in an earlier group in the video, we heard that some of the artists want to annoy people into action. That also came to my mind seeing your video. Do you think people that have more fair tech interested should be lobbying more, or should we have other legislation to make sure that the Facebooks, etc., of the world cannot lobby as much as they do now?
Oh, we totally don't want to annoy people. We just want to offer them a possibility of actually playing with the big players, right? But in general, I would say we want to raise awareness. This is our first goal, and it depends. If we manage to upscale the project, maybe we will have the possibility of actually, talking to politicians, trying to influence legislation. But first of all, it's really more about raising awareness and letting people know what lobbying actually means.
Super, thanks. Do we have an online question from any of the two other groups? And that could be Shruti again, or Nina, that we saw in an earlier presentation. Meanwhile, just raise your hand if you have a question. If not, if this is technically difficult, we could just continue with the next presentation, since we're also running a bit late. Yes, so let's jump to the next presentation. The third of the 3 projects being realized. Please a warm applause. There's a, we might have something from Haley AI coming. No, that's the slide announcing the next project. Thanks, Katja.
Thank you.
Please a warm applause for Katja. Thanks. So, this is the third project, the third and final project. And here on stage, please welcome Pauline van Tilt.
Okay, this works. So hello everybody. Thank you for joining. I will be presenting our project Hila AI. And to do this, I would like to start with a little thought exercise, seeing a stick figure. I would like you to all imagine that this stick figure is you, and it has everything that you have, all your wants and wishes, physical body and everything. And your ambitions in life, they can be represented by this blob that you will see on screen. And yeah, there's this little thing in between you and what you want in life, that's called life. This is kind of a barrier, and it can get very annoying because we want to get to what we want faster, we want more all the time, and we want to basically get rid of this barrier. And these three things, they form the driving forces behind Heli AI. So we want more, 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 and then we have this lovely thing called technology that helps us erase the barrier between us and what we want in life. So we have the forces of overproductivity and techno-optimism, which promises us, yes, we can do it, yes, it will be good, yes, technology can solve all our problems. And this basically forms a platform for Heli AI, which the HE stands for Hermes, the Greek god of communication. LI stands for liberation, and AI, I think you can guess what it stands for, artificial intelligence, of course. And the promise here is that you will be liberated from communication. So imagine all this time that you're spending online, replying to people, sending text messages, or just like sending emails, reaching out to people that don't live in the same city as you, or they do, but not in your same streets. All this time, you could like take a walk in nature, enjoy some off-screen time, and have a perfect AI proxy do all the online messaging for you. And because AIs don't have physical bodies, they don't have physical limitations either. They don't need to sleep. So instead of sending 5 friends a message, you can send 100 friends a message and keep up even better online. So this is our super nice promise of the product. So what would you do if you had this? I mean, I know what I would do. Some other examples would be for a politician. They could reach out to everybody in their district personally, and they can ask personal questions. So you can build up a personal relationship with everybody, which in reality would never be possible because, yeah, I think you know. For an influencer, you could reach, instead of 500 people, you could reach 1 million, because AIs work like this. You don't have to copy-paste manually. So that's the question. What would you do if you had this service at your fingertips? And if you have an AI-empowered life, would you think it's necessary that like this service is available for everybody? Do you think it should become a basic human rights? Because it's quite cool to have an AI-empowered life. So like either it should be available for everybody, or you think, if you want to pay for it, cool, but if you don't, it's fine. Or you think like, yeah, it's completely not necessary to have a fulfilled life, this AI empoweredness. These are some of the questions that we ask you through our early bird sign up, if you want to already register for an AI empowered future. And that you can easily do by scanning the QR code, which will show in front of me. And then you can sign up, reflect on what you would do, what are the driving forces behind your decisions. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend this, AI Empowered Future. If anybody has any questions, this is a very good opportunity to ask them as well. And yeah, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Pauline. Yeah, what would this world look like in the option where you feel, and everyone feels, that everyone is entitled to have this Heli AI taking care of all this nasty social interaction? There would be an entire parallel universe of machines. Is there yeah, how do you imagine that to happen? And how would that feel if these people would be talking to each other? What would we do then?
Well, that's a very good question. I think it can be very personal. Some people, they don't like social interaction or like online interaction that much, but they feel forced because everybody else is doing it. So they could enjoy much more walks in the parks. Other people might use it to find other people that are more like-minded across the globe. And yeah, I don't know, maybe you have an idea what you would like to do with this, because I think it can be very personal for everybody, but you would have maybe the chance that two machines will communicate with each other, but then imagine how fast they would make arrangements It's not like back and forth, like what are your agendas?
I
They
would be
just
so
know.
anxious to learn what this AI is communicating on my behalf that I would be reading everything and just be as busy as if I would do it myself. So you have to give control to the AI, and I don't think I would trust
the AI is you. So it's like, do you trust yourself?
No, no.
Then that's another question.
Okay, any other questions from the audience? There's a question here that we get from other participants. But I think, what about censorship? Is that not a question from the previous round? So I wonder which one. Do you think the idea of authenticity will change? I think that definitely that applies to your project.
It could, definitely. I think authenticity would be, okay, the proxy is you. So how good can the proxy embody you? And how fast will you change? Because I think like every experience we have, every conversation we have with another person might change us a bit. So how fast is this AI proxy changing? So I think this could be, I think, related to, okay, you could change much quicker as a human being. But then, for instance, how authentic would your actions be? How authentic would your messages be if you're not personally there? You're not personally giving your time to anybody anymore. That will be different, because then everybody can be super nice to everybody, but will we appreciate it? Because there's nobody's paying anything to be nice anymore. So that could change.
Thanks a lot. All the artists are around for the next, 1 day, 2 days, and you can talk to them. And also, thanks, Pauline, thanks. And please give her an applause, yes. As I already said, you can see the projects in the exhibition on code that is in the Science Park number 4. There's also another project that hasn't been introduced yet. It's a card game. Yeah. It's the IMPAKT Turning Tables Fair Tech card game. It's a card game that you can play, and it will turn the big tech world into a fair tech world if you play it the right way. This project and all the other projects are on display. I would like to thank a lot all the coaches also that have been involved in the project, supporting the artists and the working groups. Regine Debati, Rosa Menkman, Rachel Yua, who's also from the School of Machines, one of the co-organizers, and Effie and Amir. I would of course like to thank our funders. I hope you saw them. Yeah, they're over there. They're on this slide. I would like to thank Ars Electronica and the technicians for making this possible. And please, a warm applause for all the artists that have been working on this. Thanks.